If you told me a year ago that my own mother would conspire with my fiancé to cheat on me with my brother, no less, I'd have called you insane. But sometimes truth outdoes all the twisted fiction you can imagine. This is the story of how they tried to destroy me, and how, in the process, I destroyed them. I'm Steven, 31 years old, and I used to think my life was on the right track. I had a decent job, worked 50 to 60 hours a week, and spent my free time planning a future with my fiancée Lynn, who was 28. We'd been together for 2 years, engaged for 6 months, and I thought everything was moving toward a perfect wedding. My mother, Nancy, was 55, loud, intense, with a habit of meddling in everyone's business. As a kid, I'd never realized how controlling she was. I just thought that was normal. Over time, though, I began to see that her brand of love was more like a chokehold. Meanwhile, my younger brother Wesley was 29, a personal trainer who loved bragging about his physique. "Wesley's got so much potential," Mom used to gush. "He's all muscle, you know. He's the real man in this family." She said it jokingly, but I was never fully certain if she was joking. More and more, I started noticing how she'd nudge me with subtle put-downs, praising Wesley's physical presence and smirking at me for being just like your father, always at work, never home. Lynn and I had a stable enough relationship in those early months. We argued sometimes, who doesn't? But we shared dreams of a house with a yard, maybe kids someday, and we had begun wedding planning with cautious optimism. She worked as a teacher's aide, reserved but sweet, the kind of person who doodled hearts on her lesson plans. I didn't suspect a thing until my mother started making odd remarks about Wesley in front of Lynn. One night at a family dinner, this must have been about 2 months before everything imploded, Mom turned to Lynn, ignoring me entirely. "You know," Mom said, swirling her glass of wine, "Wesley's been working extra hard at the gym lately. Have you noticed his arms? He's become quite the Greek god, always around to help when anyone needs anything. Sometimes a woman needs that strong presence at home." Lynn blinked, obviously uncomfortable. Yeah, I guess he's in good shape," she murmured. I scowled. "Mom, can we not talk about my brother's biceps at the dinner table?" Mom just shrugged, smiling slyly. "I'm just pointing out facts, dear. You shouldn't be so sensitive." It was a small thing, but it planted a seed of unease in me. That was the first time I saw Mom openly direct Lynn's attention to Wesley's so-called physical presence. Fast forward a few weeks. I started working even longer hours. I managed a small construction crew, and we had a series of big projects that forced me to clock in before dawn and stay until late. Lynn and I hardly saw each other except for quick dinners or the occasional Sunday afternoon. She seemed more withdrawn, her phone lighting up constantly with messages she'd half smile at. "Steven," she'd say, "I'm just texting my friend from work. Don't get paranoid." "Not paranoid," I'd reply. "Just curious. You've been glued to your phone these days?" She'd shrug, turning the screen away. "It's nothing important. Wedding stress, you know?" That was the first flicker of suspicion that she might be hiding something, but I dismissed it, chalking it up to wedding nerves. Meanwhile, my mother's behavior around Lynn turned from subtle remarks to borderline propaganda. She'd corner Lynn at family get-togethers or invite her over to plan wedding details. At one point, Dad, who was more or less Mom's doormat, tried to advise me. "Son, you know how your mother gets," he said, ruffling his thinning hair. "She means well, she just has strong opinions." Strong opinions? That was an understatement. She had opinions about everything I did, how I dressed, how I spent money, how I was never around while Wesley was the ideal man. Lynn began returning from these visits with Mom looking strangely tense. She'd bite her lip, avoid eye contact, and sometimes vanish into the bedroom to read or watch Netflix alone. I didn't push it. Maybe I should have, but I figured, hey, relationships have highs and lows. Everything came crashing down on a day I'll never forget. I finished work early, wanting to surprise Mom and Lynn as they worked on wedding stuff at Mom's house. I pulled up in my old pickup, engine rattling. The window was open, and from inside the living room, I heard voices. Mom's voice was clear. "Steven's just like his father, Lynn, always off working. You'll never see him if you marry him. You need someone who's physically around, who can satisfy all your needs. And let's be honest, Wesley's the stronger man." My heart pounded. Then I heard Lynn's voice, quieter. I know Steven works a lot. I just get lonely, Nancy. And Wesley's texted me a few times, but I promise it's not—" Mom cut her off. "Don't be ashamed. Wesley is everything you need. Let's not pretend Steven has the time or the, let's say, vitality to keep you happy." I'm only telling you this because I love you, Lynn. I see how distant Steven's become. He's never around. Wesley, though, he's right here, always willing to help. You deserve that. I felt like the ground fell out from under me. My mother was actively steering my fiancé toward my own brother. Fury pulsed in my veins. I wanted to burst in and start screaming, but I forced myself to stay calm, to gather more truth. Lynn said something else that made my blood run cold. He's only texted me a few times, but it's nice to have someone to talk to about daily stuff. Wesley told me he's noticed how lonely I seem. That was it. I stepped into the living room, and the moment they saw me, Mom's eyes flickered with a fake smile as if she were greeting a friendly guest. Lynn looked petrified. "So, this is wedding planning, huh?" I said quietly. Mom rose from the couch, lifting her chin. "Someone had to tell Lynn the truth, Stephen. You're never around. Wesley can be the partner she really needs." I swallowed the lump in my throat. You do realize how insane that sounds, right? Encouraging my fiancé to cheat with my brother? You think that's normal? Lynn tried to intervene. "Stephen, I'm sorry. Nancy has been in my ear about this, but it's just texts. Nothing's actually happened." I locked eyes with Lynn. "Show me." She froze. "What?" "Show me your phone," I repeated, my voice shaking. "If it's all innocent, show me your texts with Wesley." She clutched her phone. That told me everything. My mother huffed, stepping forward. "Don't you dare demand to see your phone," Mom snapped. "That's controlling, and Wesley would never stoop to that. He respects women's boundaries." Boundaries? The irony was staggering. This was the same woman who read Dad's emails behind his back every single morning. I walked out without another word, my entire body trembling. Lynn followed me to the driveway, tears streaking her cheeks, babbling about how she was confused and your mom got in my head. She promised to delete Wesley's number. She promised it meant nothing, but it was too late. She'd revealed her willingness to consider my own brother as a backup option, spurred on by my mother. When we got home, I saw 6 missed calls from Wesley. A single text read, "We need to talk, bro." I laughed bitterly. Then Mom called, leaving a voicemail. "Stephen, you're overreacting. Lynn is still a good woman, and you need to calm down. Wesley is just being supportive. Don't throw her away just because you're paranoid." Paranoid? She practically set them up. My father called too, with his usual half-hearted peacemaking. "Son, you know how your mother is. She doesn't think before she speaks. Give Lynn another chance." I was done. That night, Lynn slept in the guest room, saying she needed time to think. I laughed bitterly. Time to text Wesley, more like. Over the next few days, things spiraled. Lynn grew distant, going out more often under the guise of girls' nights. My mother started sending me messages laced with guilt trips. "You're going to lose a wonderful woman if you keep pushing her away with your suspicion." I wasn't sure whether to end the engagement on the spot or gather more proof. I was caught in a swirl of shock, anger, and heartbreak. One Thursday night, Lynn claimed she was meeting her old friend Amber for drinks. Something felt off. She dressed up more than usual, wore a perfume I recognized as Wesley's favorite scent, because I'd once seen him comment on it. My blood boiled. So I did something I'm not proud of. I hopped in my truck, drove to Wesley's apartment complex, and parked at a corner where I could see the visitor lot. Sure enough, there was Lynn's car. Heart hammering, I waited. 20 minutes later, I glimpsed them through Wesley's ground floor window. Lynn curled against him, heads close together, watching something on his laptop. My stomach churned. I marched to the door and banged. They opened it, looking flushed and guilty. Wesley was in one of his tight compression shirts, an attempt to show off his bulging arms. Lynn wore the outfit I'd bought her for her last birthday. "How long?" I said. Wesley lifted his hands defensively. "Bro, calm down. We can talk about this like adults." "How long?" Lynn sniffled, tears brimming. 2 months, she whispered. "It just happened. You're always working late, and Wesley understands me better. Nancy said—" I let out a harsh laugh. "Nancy said. So now you're on a first-name basis with my mother, colluding behind my back? My own brother? Wow, you two are a piece of work." Wesley scowled, stepping forward as if to block me. "Don't talk to her like that. You neglected her. She came to me for help." "Help with what exactly?" I snapped. "Her moral bankruptcy?" He lunged at me, swinging a fist, always the hothead. I blocked his arm and shoved him backward. He tripped over his weight bench and crashed into the couch. "You piece of garbage," I hissed. "You try to steal my fiancé, and then you try to start a fight the moment I confront you?" I pulled out my phone, scrolled to Mom, and hit speaker. She picked up. Stephen, why are you calling now? It's late. I cut right to the chase. Tell me, Mother, why are you so proud that Wesley's hooking up with Lynn behind my back? Go ahead. Enlighten him. Her laugh was a quiet, chilling chuckle. Honey, I tried to warn you. Wesley's just more suitable for Lynn. She deserves a real man who's present, who can excite her. You're never home, just like your father. I hung up, stuffing the phone in my pocket. The family group chat exploded that night, with Mom spinning the story that I'd attacked Wesley out of nowhere. My father tried to pacify me with calls. Son, Nancy's just worried about Lynn's happiness. Don't you think you've been overreacting? Overreacting? My fiancé was hooking up with my brother because my mother told her he was the stronger man. That was apparently my fault. Lynn came home the next day while I was at work, packed up all her stuff, some of which I had bought, and left her ring on the kitchen counter. A single note read, I never meant to hurt you. I hope one day you can forgive me. That was it. 2 years together, thrown away for a man whose only virtues were a six-pack and an endless supply of artificially sweetened protein shakes. Mom called me that evening, gloating. Don't make this ugly, Stephen. Accept that Wesley and Lynn are happier together. I'm sure you'll find someone else eventually. I wanted to scream, but a cold anger took hold. They expected me to just roll over and accept a new family dynamic. Wesley and Lynn arm in arm, me relegated to the corner as the workaholic ex. They thought I'd come to holiday dinners, say no hard feeling, and grin while they played house. You have no idea what you've done, I said quietly into the phone. Mom sniffed. Stop being dramatic. I tried to do what's best for Lynn and for our family. Wesley's the right choice. Click. I hung up, a storm of rage and betrayal swirling. Over the next few weeks, the entire fiasco spilled across our extended family. My mother championed the new couple, inviting them over for dinners as though they were already married. My father, spineless as ever, said nothing. My sister, who lived out of state, called me in disgust, offering her couch if I needed to escape. I don't know how to fix this, I admitted to her. They're flaunting it. Wesley's texting me, Lynn's posting cryptic social media quotes about following your heart, and Mom's basically encouraging them. My sister sighed. You can't fix it, but you don't have to let them walk all over you either. You do what you have to do. I took that to heart. If they wanted a war, they'd get one. I was done being the victim. In that moment, the last shred of guilt or heartbreak burned away. What emerged was a villain, a darker version of myself, determined to tear down the illusions they'd built. I started digging. Wesley's personal training business was an online hustle. He sold fitness programs, custom protein blends, and bragged about how well he was doing. But a friend of mine named Patrick hinted that Wesley was cutting corners, possibly reselling cheap or expired supplements under fancier labels. He's basically rebottling them in his garage, Patrick told me. You can smell the rancid powder from outside. I felt a sick thrill. This could be my first step. I spent nights compiling screenshots of Wesley's social media, where he boasted about cash-only deals and tax-free profits. I bookmarked shady messages he'd posted in local fitness groups about secret formula blends. Simultaneously, I looked into my mother's real estate dealings. Nancy was proud of being a top agent, but I knew she had a reputation for stepping on toes. I found suspicious 5-star reviews on her business page from accounts that looked suspiciously fake. Usernames with random numbers, barely any activity, possibly purchased reviews. I wasn't sure how to use all this yet, but I stored it meticulously. If they wanted to ruin my life, I'd return the favor legally. One Sunday, Dad insisted on a family meeting to address the tension. I agreed to come, purely to see if more opportunities for sabotage would present themselves. I arrived to find Mom, arms folded, face stern. Wesley and Lynn sat side by side on the couch like a smug power couple. Dad hovered by the doorway, looking hapless. All right, Dad began, clearing his throat. We need to settle this. Stephen, can't you see you're tearing the family apart with your anger? And Nancy, you... Mom raised a hand dismissively at Dad. Let me handle this, she snapped. Stephen, your father and I think you should respect Lynn's decision. If she's happier with Wesley, that's that. As for you, maybe focus more on your job or find a new hobby. You'll move on in time. I stared at her, a slow smile tugging at my lips. I see. So you want me to just accept that my fiancé found a stronger man in my own brother, and we'll all pretend this is normal? Lynn's eyes flickered with guilt, but she quickly masked it. Look, you were working all the time, Stephen. I felt alone. Nancy and Wesley just helped me see that I wasn't getting what I needed. I'm sorry if you feel betrayed. But this is where I belong now. Wesley smirked, crossing his arms over his chest. Yeah, bro. Maybe if you'd tried a little harder to show up for her, none of this would have happened. My fists clenched. What about your responsibility, you traitorous bastard? You flirted with her behind my back for months. That's all on me, too. He rose from the couch, puffing up like he always did. Watch your mouth, man. I won't let you talk to me like that. I can talk how I want, I said softly, because you're the one who destroyed our relationship. And so did you, Lynn. Don't pretend you're innocent. Mom stepped between us, wagging a finger. Stop it, you two. Wesley is right. If you had been a better partner, Lynn wouldn't have strayed. You think working 60 hours a week makes you a good man? I laughed, a hollow, dangerous sound. Yes, Mom, I do, because I was paying for our future. Maybe I don't have big biceps and an Instagram following, but I have dignity, unlike all of you. Tension boiled. My father tried to intervene, flustered. Now, let's all just calm, Wesley snapped. Shut up, Dad. You're the reason Stephen turned out weak. Time slowed. My father's eyes turned dark, hurt shining through. It was the first time I'd ever seen him respond to an insult like that. But I didn't let him speak. I wanted them all to see the new me, the man who wouldn't be kicked to the curb. You know what? I said, stepping back with a smirk. I'm done. I wish you two, the unstoppable couple, a lifetime of therapy bills. And you, Mom, enjoy your illusions. I'm out. Before Wesley could throw another punch, I turned on my heel and walked out, Dad calling after me in vain. The next day, I launched my counterattack. I anonymously sent a tip to the state's Consumer Health Department about possible expired supplements being repackaged for sale by one Wesley last name. I included screenshots of his social media boasting about underground deals and never paying taxes. I also compiled an anonymous report to the local real estate board, flagging a suspicious cluster of 5-star reviews on Nancy's profile. I attached an IP analysis from a buddy who's tech-savvy, which suggested those accounts likely came from the same device. You sure about this? Patrick asked, seeing how deep I was going. I nodded, jaw clenched. They destroyed me. Now it's their turn to watch everything burn. It didn't take long for the dominoes to fall. First, Wesley's certification was suspended, and his gym fired him after rumors spread that he was selling expired supplements. Furious, he ranted online about haters trying to ruin me. Mom doubled down, calling me envious and pitiful. She posted a cryptic Facebook message. Some people sabotage others out of jealousy. Family whispered, suspecting me, but had no proof. Wesley's downfall was swift. His high-paying clients fled, the money dried up, and he broke his lease. He moved back in with Mom. Meanwhile, the real estate board found more than bad reviews, missing inspections, rushed closings, and shady deals. Clients backed out, her broker put her on probation, and Nancy's perfect image crumbled. She blamed family betrayal online. Lynn, who saw Wesley as a strong alpha, realized too late she had bet on a sinking ship. His income was gone, his reputation destroyed. He couldn't even afford their planned getaway. She started missing my life, where the bills were paid and the fridge was full. A week later, Lynn had the audacity to text me. Stephen, I'm sorry, everything's so messed up. I wish it didn't end like this. Maybe we could talk. I typed a response. Busy. Good luck with your new strong man. Then I blocked her. Dad, still trying to keep the peace, invited me to a family dinner. The nerve. I decided to go, half to show off my new calm, half to watch them squirm. By then, I had snagged a promotion at work. Supervisor with a pay raise, plus a company truck. I brought a date, Zoe, a sweet, no-nonsense receptionist from my gym who knew all about the drama. She agreed to come for moral support and maybe a little entertainment. When we walked into Mom's house, the tension felt suffocating. Wesley glared, sporting a scowl that only deepened when he saw Zoe. Lynn stood near the kitchen island, fiddling with a glass of wine, eyes flicking anxiously between me and Wesley. My mother set plates down with too much force, trying to remain composed. Stephen, she said stiffly, you brought a guest. I slipped an arm around Zoe's waist. Yes, this is Zoe. She's been wonderful company. Zoe gave a polite smile, but the gleam in her eyes said she was ready for a show. Dad cleared his throat. Let's sit down. We have so much to catch up on. We took seats around the old wooden table. For a moment, nobody spoke. My mother forced an ingratiating smile. So, you look well, Stephen. I heard about your new position. I smirked. You heard right. Supervisor role? Decent raise, a truck? It's nice not being anchored by drama. Wesley's jaw tightened. He said nothing, swirling water in a cheap plastic cup. He looked pitiful, wearing old sweatpants. He'd lost the sleek apartment, the gym job, the brand deals. Lynn's eyes flitted over me. I'm happy for you, she ventured weakly. Zoe didn't hesitate. He earned it, she said. He works really hard. But I guess some people only appreciate that once it's gone. An icy hush followed. Finally, Mom tried to pivot. So, Wesley, how's the new job hunt? Any luck? He grunted. Not really. My certification is suspended for 2 years thanks to some snitch. He stared directly at me. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you, bro? I raised an eyebrow. You think I have time to worry about your shady business? I've got a real job. He slammed his fist on the table, rattling the silverware. You sabotage me and then act innocent? You're a real piece of work. You think I don't know you tipped off the board about my supplements? If what you were doing was legal, I said calmly, there'd be nothing to report. Don't blame the messenger. Mom hissed, Enough. I told you both to stop fighting. We're still a family. Stephen, you need to apologize for meddling in your brother's affairs. I laughed. Meddling? Like how you meddled with my fiancée, hooking her up with your favorite son? Sure, let's call that meddling. Lynn sniffed, tears forming. Stephen, I didn't mean to hurt you. I just felt neglected. And Wesley was there, Zoe cut in. Stop playing the victim, Lynn. You made a choice. Now deal with the consequences. That's when Wesley lost it. He lunged across the table, knocking over a glass of water. Zoe yelped, leaning back. I stood quickly, bracing for impact. He tried to swing, but he was off balance. My father had moved to intervene. Wesley's fist caught the edge of a decorative bowl, and he tumbled forward, face smashing into the coffee table behind us. Blood trickled from his nose. You maniac, Mom shrieked, pointing at me. He's bleeding because of you. Because of me? I said, stepping away. He tried to punch me, remember? Dad's face was purplish, eyes bulging. Everybody out. I'm done with this nonsense. Nancy, get him to the bathroom. Lynn, help Zoe. Stephen, maybe it's best you go. Zoe and I exchanged glances, grabbing our coats. Lynn followed us partway to the door, tears rolling down her cheeks. This isn't what I wanted, she whispered. I just looked at her with cold disdain. You made your bed, Lynn. Sleep in it. Then we left, ignoring the chaotic sounds of Mom shrieking orders at Dad to fetch towels. In the days after that disastrous dinner, the final stages of my plan took shape. He had a minor fracture in his nose, but that wasn't his real problem. His unlicensed supplement business came under deeper scrutiny after the health department discovered the expired inventory in his garage. Complaints from ex-clients started appearing on social media. Some felt nauseous after using his so-called premium blends. The gym blacklisted him. He couldn't get hired anywhere reputable. Mom's reputation took hit after hit. More reviews disappeared, flagged as fake. A competitor posted a local news link about realtors forging reviews, strongly hinting that Nancy was under investigation. Her broker dropped her. She still had Dad's money to fall back on. He'd quietly inherited from his father. But the real estate empire she'd built started to crumble. Lynn tried to stand by Wesley, but as the bills piled up, her illusions shattered. She realized he had no financial security, and that big muscle and cocky charm didn't pay the rent. She started complaining to mutual friends that Wesley was unstable and lashing out. That's when the phone calls started. 19 missed calls one morning. Wesley left a voicemail. Pick up, you coward. I know it was you who ratted me out. You can't do this to family. Lynn texted me. We need to talk. I'm so sorry. I miss you. Mom tried too. Stephen, enough is enough. You're tearing this family apart. You got Wesley fired, you humiliated me, and for what? Are you that petty? I let the calls ring. I read the texts with a grim smile. They had once laughed at me, expected me to roll over. Now they were scrambling. Dad invited me over again, claiming he wanted to talk man to man. I went, out of curiosity, found him alone in the living room. Mom, Wesley, and Lynn were in the kitchen, presumably plotting. Dad looked weary. Son, I never stood up for you enough, did I? I shrugged. Let's skip the regret, Dad. I'm fine. He sighed. Your mother pushed Lynn into that relationship with Wesley, but you've destroyed them financially. Is that really what you want? I stared at him. They tried to destroy me. I just showed them the consequences of their own actions. He rubbed his temples. Your mother is losing everything she's worked for. Wesley might face legal charges if those clients sue. Lynn is, well, she's miserable. Don't you feel even a little pity? I snorted. Pity for the people who shattered my engagement, lied to me, humiliated me? No, this is justice. Before Dad could reply, the kitchen door opened. Mom, Wesley, nose still bandaged, and Lynn stepped in. We need to settle this once and for all, Mom declared, arms crossed. Stephen, you're going to call off whatever you did to sabotage us, or else we'll... I cut her off. You'll what? Complain to the police that I told the truth? If Wesley was innocent, the investigation wouldn't have gone anywhere. If your real estate record was spotless, nobody would believe the complaints. You did this to yourselves. Wesley glared, fists clenched. You're a snake. You think you're better than me, huh? Because you work some construction job? Because you have a stupid promotion? I smirked. Better? No, just smarter, apparently. Lynn took a shaky step forward. Stephen, I want to apologize. I realize now that your mother manipulated me. Mom whipped around. Don't blame me, she snapped. You wanted a stronger man, and you chose Wesley. We had an understanding. Lynn's eyes widened, tears pooling. I was confused. You kept telling me I deserved better, that Stephen would never be around. I made a mistake. My voice dripped with sarcasm. A mistake? Stealing from my apartment, lying for months, texting my brother behind my back, and laughing about it with my mother. That's more than a little oopsie, Lynn. She sobbed, pressing a hand to her mouth. Wesley turned on her. You see what you did? He spat. You're the one who said yes to me in the first place. Don't act like you're innocent. Mom hissed. Stop fighting, you two. Stephen is the real enemy here. He's systematically tearing us down just because we found happiness that didn't involve him. Happiness. I nearly laughed. They were drowning in debt, fines, and tarnished reputations. Some happiness. I shook my head, stepping away. I'm not here for your lecture. I came to tell Dad I'm done with all of you. No more calls, no more messages. You get nothing from me. Wesley hurled one last insult. Go to hell, you heartless bastard. I looked at him with eyes that had no warmth left. I've already been there, courtesy of you and Mom. Now you can enjoy your stay. With that, I strode out, ignoring the crashing sounds behind me as the argument escalated. The next morning, I heard from a friend that Wesley had tried to borrow money from half a dozen people, all of whom refused once they realized the scandal he was in. Lynn was job hunting in another district, hoping to escape the local gossip. Mom's real estate deals continued to implode. My life took an upswing. I poured my rage into my career, earning even more respect. Hard times breed strong men. I became exactly what my mother claimed I wasn't, just not for her or Lynn. I was building a future free from their control. A week later, Lynn emailed me a novel of regret. You were always stable. I was foolish to listen to Nancy. Wesley isn't who I thought he was. I deleted it without replying. Some might call me a villain. Maybe they're right. I used legitimate channels, exposing them through the truth. But my motive was vengeance. I wanted them to suffer, and they did. Does that make me the bad guy? Possibly. But my mother gave my fiancé to my brother. Wesley took what wasn't his. Lynn abandoned her morals for a stronger man. So yes, I became a villain, their villain. Watching them lose everything built on lies was the sweetest justice. They wanted a stronger man, I told Patrick over beers. So I became one, just not how they expected. He grinned, clinking his glass. Sometimes the best revenge is letting them destroy themselves. Months have passed since the final blow. Wesley is blacklisted from the fitness world, banned from training for 2 years. Mom's real estate empire is crumbling. Her broker dropped her, her office shut down for code violations, and lawsuits loom. Lynn vanished from social media, likely dodging gossip. Dad is finally seeing Mom's manipulation. He quietly admitted he's considering separation, saying life with Nancy is suffocating. I almost pity him, but that's his fight, not mine. I moved out of the old apartment. Too many memories. My new place is bigger, with space for a home office. The promotion is solid, and I've been spending time with Zoe, the gym receptionist who hates guys like Wesley. She's no saint, but she's real. That's enough. Do I regret the sabotage? Maybe. But then I remember finding Lynn in my brother's bed, hearing my mother celebrate my betrayal. Some lines, once crossed, can't be forgiven. They say villains think they're heroes. I don't need to be a hero. I took down the people who deserved it. My mother, my brother, and the fiancé who chose them over me. And I sleep just fine knowing I delivered their downfall. They wanted a real man. They got one, just not the one they expected.